Hello, everybody. This is Brad Swift with Gaia's Call 2.0 podcast. And I'm here with my co-host, Marla,
Hi.
who's a little freaked out, and I don't blame her. She just showed me something that we're going to talk about today. So, Marla, I'm kind of going to turn it over to you, and I'm not leaving, but I'm going to turn the facilitation over to you. What kind of freaked you out this week?
Hi. Well, first of all, hi everybody. Hi, Brad. Yeah, so I've just written an article with AI because I just wanted to see what it would do. So so I run my own business and it's called the Eco Chapter, and I've been trying to figure out what are the most efficient ways, I guess, to get all the like over 130 articles that I've already written into my Instagram because I'm really not very good at tech or marketing myself. So a friend of mine suggested that I go on one of these free platforms and put text into video. And so I went to this website and it's called veed.com, veed.io, sorry. And I put a photo of myself, not a video, a photo of myself. And then I copied a text, part of a text from an article that I had written already. And I'm just going to share my screen and see if you can see what I did. So this is from my Substack. It's called an AI experiment, and I actually got AI to write this whole article. So if you do read it, it's not. It also says at the bottom, "Here's another experiment. Do you think I wrote the post?" But the thing that freaked me out the most was that this is a photo from a panel that I did a couple of months ago. A photo, not a video, and then I wrote a text, and this is what it happened.
Many have never heard of the word polycrisis.
So I'm gonna play it again.
Many have never heard of the word polycrisis.
So on top of AI now changing my photo into a video, it's also
Many
giving
have never
me
heard of the word
like a
polycrisis.
wedding ring, a watch, changed my language,
Many have never
moved
heard of
my
the word
face.
polycrisis.
I've got nails. Like it's just completely like oh, it just freaked me out because I was like, oh my goodness, like it just made me realize I'm sure people have been using this for a really long time, but for me this is totally new. And I don't have a wedding ring. I'm not married, and I don't have ever have nails, and I don't ever wear a watch, like ever. And so all of these things are just like things what you're expected to have as a, I guess, as a founder of a company. You're supposed to be like all like manicured and like made up and be married. And yeah, so it really, really messed with my head. And so I kind of went down this rabbit hole of like who else is doing these things and like how much of what we're reading is real and like or is it human written or is it based on algorithms, how many like companies are just using AI to just tell you things that you should know, whether they're even checking what is being said and what's being sent out into the world. Like we don't even know that because they have schedules. And I know for my Substacks, I post it every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. But it's me written and I put it on a schedule. But what if it was an AI bot that was writing all your blog posts or your Instagram posts or whatever? And I'm like, who's checking these things? And how many people that we see on social media are real, or are they just made up things telling you made up stuff?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
kind of been like my rabbit hole this week, and I kind of want to talk about it because it's also like, what we were talking about previously in terms of like the poly crisis and like what's happening in the social crisis and people losing like themselves, like, who are we anymore? What are our ideas and do we connect with people or do we just talk to them on as a bot? So that's kind of been where I've been going with this. I don't know, Brad, like, what do you think?
Well, first off, as it probably is pretty evident given the fact that we're kind of feeling our way into this
Right.
whole podcast thing, we are not AI.
Oh,
I say I'm not we are. But no, who knows what that would really look
I
like.
have real fingers, no nails.
Right, right. And I am married, and I also have an aura ring. Um, so to kind of create a little bit more context for this is Yeah, we definitely are still in the conversation and exploration of the polycrisis. And one of the things that I'm hearing and want to kind of underline from what Marla is saying is part of the thing that makes the whole polycrisis so challenging and scary is that they're all interrelated. So over here, you've got the climate crisis or challenge. Over here, you've got go over here. We got the political issues.
Yeah.
Over here we've got AI. Here we've got, the crisis of meaning and others as well, medical crisis, health crisis. And they're all like, interrelated. So if you start tweaking one, that affects the other. And it makes it for a challenging time. I read something this past week myself. Olong, I believe is his name, Oolong. He's on Medium, not Substack. I wish he was on Substack, make it easier. Um, but he's also he's talking about who are we going to be in the face of a completely never before situation
Yeah.
for humanity itself. And so that's, I think, what we want to be looking at is, AI, artificial intelligence, is not going away. Nobody's going to be able to put it back in the box and say, "Oh, wait a minute, we released it a little bit too early, and let's put it all." But no, and there's quite a bit of evidence that the powers that be that are running the show when it comes to AI aren't really looking at it from a sense of how can we cooperate with each other and how can we really responsibly use this tool in a way to serve humanity. It's still kind of in the mindset of competition and I got to get ahead and if I can do it, I'll do it. We don't know what's going to happen, and so kind of in my view, irresponsible. So Marlon and I are here not because we have the answers, but that we're here with you as our listeners to engage in the question
Yeah.
and come up with, kind of like what we're finding. Because we both use AI. We both, in our pre-call, we said, yeah, we both use it in different ways. And, for me, I'm trying to do it in a way that's as responsible as possible, and still having questions in my mind. Is this really, then, and again, that's where I'm kind of left with this, well,
Yeah.
that kind of state of confusion that I think a lot of us are dealing with right now.
Yeah, I think like what the both of us use AI for at the end of the day is also like a tool that you would, normally, I guess, pay somebody to be an editor or pay someone to brainstorm with you. You would have a team, whereas we both work alone. Like I know I use AI as like a brainstorming buddy. Like, it's like I have all these ideas because I read all this information in science journals and everything, and I'm like, I'm all over the place. Help me put this into like 3 bullet points. Then I go on my own and then I write my own story and I have lots of research to back it up because of these things that I'm reading. But I know, like, so I used to teach in a high school for a little while. And I know the kids that were there, they were just copying blindly, exactly what AI had written for whatever, project they were doing without knowing what they wanted at the end of the day. Like I know with the both of us, you and me, Brad, like we know exactly the outcome that we want, and so we tweak it and adjust it and we adjust the prompts and we adjust everything until it's like, okay, this is exactly what I want. You're just helping me kind of do it either faster or like, to be a little bit more structured. And for me, the scary thing is like watching those kids do that. I mean, we both grew up without the internet and we both grew up without phones and, all these shortcuts, I guess. And it's not just the kids that are using it today. It's also lots of people who are not reading critically the news or not reading critically the science and believing wholeheartedly whatever ChatGPT says to them, for example. And ChatGPT is based on Wikipedia and Reddit. Like most of the information that ChatGPT gets are from forums. It's not even evidence. It's not even science-based facts, and then they were taking this wholeheartedly as the truth, and which is terrifying because it's also, I guess, with the algorithms, we're kind of converging all this information into a point. If you put into ChatGPT, like, what is a picture of a bank robber, it'll probably be a black guy with a hoodie, and like if you put in like, oh, what's a picture of a lawyer, I don't know, be like some middle-aged balding guy with glasses and a suit, like white dude, obviously. And this is a scary thing because like if we're talking about things like crises, we're not now critically thinking about all the information that's being sent to us. We're just taking things as, oh, this is it. Whether it's from the media, which are probably also written by ChatGPT, the scripts that they use on different news channels or I don't know, journal articles and like media journals. But then you have Fox News or BBC, you have like, here we have Channel News Asia, we have the Asian side of the things. So if you're only looking at one thing and just saying that this is it, if it's ChatGPT written, you have no idea whether that's real or not because you don't know what you want, you don't know what you're looking for. You're just like, okay, this is it. And for me,
Yeah.
that's really scary because that's how we other everybody else, right? Because we're like, this is what they said, and you're all bad. And it's like, really? Is that really it?
Yeah, it reminds me of the conversation my wife and I had just this morning, and we're just let's see, today is Tuesday after the Super Bowl that was on Sunday, and a big part of what our conversation was about was not about the Super Bowl, but about the Super Bowl halftime show, which had Bad Bunny was the halftime show. And for those who may not be aware of him, I was not. I was like, Bad Bunny? They're having a bunny on the show? No, he's Puerto Rican. He's from what my wife said, is the currently the number one streaming singer in the world, and he's from Puerto Rico, and his entire show was in Spanish with no English subtitles, which I thought kind of like, I wished I'd known what he was saying, but I don't speak English. Now, my point was she was telling me all the things that she had learned on Facebook about him that kind of gave a clearer sense of what he was about and what he had done previous to the show to kind of prepare himself for the backlash that he pretty much knew was going to happen given the current administration. And everything she said followed was what I had learned, but I learned it on YouTube. And then kind of the natural thing was, well, wait a minute, she saw it on Facebook, and I saw it on YouTube, and what kind of track? So it almost be true, but was it? And I haven't taken the time yet to really delve into, did he have a bulletproof vest on under his outfit? That was one of the things. He looked like he could have. He had a pretty, broad shoulders and looked like it, but did he actually do the things that, our information said that he'd done? Now, I was clear when I was watching the YouTube video, it was AI generated. In fact, it was using one of the AI generated voices that's like, oh yeah, as soon as I hear that, I know the voice is AI generated. That doesn't necessarily mean that what it's saying is not true, but there is that question. And I think that's part of what we're kind of coming to collectively is the day of knowing, particularly knowing without doing a fair amount of research as to what's true and what's not,
Yeah.
is over. It's probably been over for some time, but it's definitely over now.
Yeah, and I mean like the nice thing about the two of us, I think we've both kind of taken time away to question these things. Like I know for me, like I took some time in 2012, that was I guess before AI, but now I'm going away again. Like, well, we're talking in February and I'm going away in March with an open-ended ticket to India because for me, I just needed to go. I just need to know that I need to be separated from, this crazy AI generated corporate consumerist materialist world and I want to go live in a farm, in the mountains somewhere. And also to question myself and be like, wait, what are my values? Like are all the thoughts that I have and the ideas I have, are they also being generated because of all the things that I'm reading on the news and on the, social medias and LinkedIn's and Instagrams of today? Like, I need to also go back and question that and just be like, wait, who am I? Like, like what you said, right? When it all ends, like, who are we? And then, if we're living in this like autopilot mode, right? That it's just this hamster wheel of go to work, come back home, go to sleep, go to work, come back home, go to sleep. You don't really have time to question things, whether it's like your boss or the news or AI or Bad Bunny. I don't actually know who he is. Or the Super Bowl. I haven't seen it, but yeah, who are we, at the end of the day? And are we okay with what we're doing? And I know for Singapore, like a lot of the people that I'm talking to are very corporate, like they're very, very business minded. And so, you're just driven by this want of money, want of more, want of promotions, want of a new car, a bigger house. But is that really what you wanted? Like when you were a kid, what did you want to do? For me, it was really like I wanted to go work with animals. I wanted to go be out in nature. And so the only way, and you too. And the only way I can do that is to just disconnect from all this that I'm being told, whether it's by AI or society or the news or anything, and just go and figure out, like what is it? Who am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
And am I okay with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess what, part of the message I would like to offer, with this as we begin to kind of wind things up is uh, to do your research.
Yes.
Is there such a thing as a polycrisis? Are they, but not just your research like online, but your inner research. Like, how does it feel off? This past week, I brought up the whole question about the polycrisis to my daughter. She's 33, 34, and I didn't know whether she even was familiar with the term. So I asked her, I said, have you heard the term polycrisis or metacrisis or anything like that? And she said, No, what is it? And I briefly kind of described, like I did just earlier with all the different segments. And she said, Well, I'm not familiar with that term, but she said, Yeah, something's doesn't feel right. Something's going on, and she said, and so that for me was a beginning to open up the possibilities. And kind of, we're not heading off to India. I've tried to talk my wife into moving to Costa Rica, but with the kids, with our daughter and uh, son-in-law and the two kids, it'd have to be a package deal. But what we are in the early phases of is how can we get ourselves closer together in in either the same community or very close communities, so that if things do start to or continue to go south, and when I say go south, I don't mean here in the southern part of the United States, but start to deteriorate further, we're together
Yeah.
in a community. So I think that sense of connecting with your family, if you have one, connecting with your community. If you don't, this may be a good time to start connecting,
Yeah.
whether it's in India or here in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Like, it's also the whole idea of having a human conversation. It's not just don't just read everything on the news and then take it as the word. I think having those conversations with people also make you critically think about your whatever's coming out of your mouth. Like, are you okay with what you're saying? Are you okay with what they're saying? And having a discussion about it definitely opens your mind, and it's not just like, oh, maybe I don't agree with this, or maybe that's not right, and I think having that kind of like your tribe of people that are, close enough to you that you can say no and you can disagree. I think that's really, really important. And then that's kind of what I've been trying to do here in Singapore, like for the last, what, 2 years. setting up these like meetings with people that we talk about books, about the poly crisis, about um, ecological crisis and things like that, and also writing workshops as well, so that it's not just a conversation, it's also like how do you put it down on paper and then slowly taking the time away for yourself and just being like, hey, well, this is all the things I talked about with these people, but where do I stand with it? Where am I? So it's not just a connection to others and the planet, and of course, spending more time in nature and realizing it's not all artificial. We have lots of real awesome things and like so much real beauty. But then it's also the connection with ourselves and just being like, okay, who am I? Am I okay with what I'm doing? Am I okay with what I'm reading? What do I need to do to fill those gaps or connect to different things? Maybe I need to do art class. Maybe I need to play the piano. I don't know, but stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
connection with the
Yeah.
world, with each other, with ourselves, and just being and living in alignment with that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. So, I want to just kind of give a trailer or preview. We do have scheduled to have our first guest come on our show, and we'll be recording it in a couple of weeks. So it'll be a little while before it's ready, but it's coming. Her name is, help me to get this right, Catherine Burke. All right. Okay. And she's has background in education, children's education, and has written a book about how to really, you know, well, to me, it's how to put it in my own language, how to bring up children to be eco guardians. Now, that's not her way of describing it, but that's one of the reasons we want to have her on the show is to explore that and all the great information and knowledge and wisdom that she has to share. So, if you know of someone who thinks would make a great guest for us to have a kind of a three-way gathering and exploration, not so much an interview, but kind of a gathering of the hearts, please let us know.
Yeah.
Anything else for you for tomorrow as we sum this up?
Just if you want to read Catherine Burke's book, it's called Earth Words, like towards, but Earth Words,
Yeah.
WARDS. And she's really, really, really cool, and I can't wait to have her on the show. But also, like, if you have an issue like me with my AI experiment, and you want us to talk about it, please send that in as well, so that
Yes,
we
very good.
can discuss whatever you feel like discussing.
All right.
Thanks,
In the
guys.
meantime, ciao.
Bye.
Bye bye.